Clint Salter, welcome back to Her Empire Builder podcast.
Tina Tower, what a pleasure. It's always so nice to see your smiling face and hear your lovely, soothing voice.
Oh, you're beautiful. And it's like we started 48 minutes ago. Should go, yeah, we'll hit record.
We should
in
have
a
recorded
second.
all of that. Yeah. We
No.
should have recorded all of that. That would have been a good podcast.
I know it would have, right? Anyway, all right. So I'll eventually now get into it and going, okay. Now, $1 Million Micro Business came out this month, and you are a fabulous success story inside of that. And I think that you're one of my favorites because you have played the long game and been around for a really long time and shown people how you can really take, you're the essence of going, there's no bullshit there. You've actually taken tangible business knowledge, packaged it into something and served people fully. You have always focused on serving people, which is what, whether we talk privately, whether we talk on interviews, the thing that has come across since I have known you is service. You just really want to give massive value and serve people. Has that changed as a strategy as you've had different iterations of business since you've began?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, thank you so much for having me in the book. It was an absolute pleasure. And the book is such a cracker. I was saying to you before, there's really no book out there that is this Bible step-by-step how you build an online course. So thrilled to be a part of it. To answer your question, I've always been obsessed. Even when I had my dance studio at 16, I've always been obsessed with creating experiences for my customers, whether that is an online experience or an in-person experience. My team will tell you I talk about it every single day. It is the pillar of all of our conversations because, working with dance studio owners as we do at DSOA, we don't have a lot of them. There's about 100,000 English-speaking dance studio owners in the world. They're not all online. And so we might have potentially maybe 65 or 70,000 potential customers. I mean, that's a very, very small audience. And so that even makes me more obsessed to ensure that we deliver to our customers so that we keep them. And the way that we keep them is by focusing on consistently delivering them value. I mean, they've got to win. At the end of the day, the customer has to win, because if they're not winning, they're not staying, they're not sticking around. And so how do we get them winning? How do we get them results quickly in our programs? How do we consistently support them to keep achieving results so they can reach out for help, so they can get training from our coaches or our pro classes and keep moving them forward? And surrounding them with an amazing community of like-minded people, that is just awesome. And that has allowed us to continue to scale and grow DSOA.
It's amazing. And so DSOA, Dance Studio Owners Association, has been around for 7 years now. For people that haven't read the book, those crazy people.
Oh my goodness, go and buy the book right now.
$1millionmicrobusiness.com. For those people, what can you tell us about the customer journey that you have in terms of how people enter your world, and then what your high ticket offer is so people can get a feel for your business model?
Yeah, so our business model now is very different to what it was 7 years ago. And I think it's important to highlight that, because often people will look at DSOA today, 7 years in, and go, I want that. And they're in year one. And I'm like, no, this is, as you mentioned before, this is a long game. And I never built DSOA to have, $1 million a year our first year. I have built it on the foundation of what makes a really good business. And then I have kept building on those blocks with our team every single year for the last 7 years. And so now what it looks like is we have a flagship program. It's called the Student Attraction Intensive. And it's an 8-week course that focuses on how to attract, enroll, and retain students in your studio. It is the most requested information we get asked for at
Yeah.
DSOA. And it's also the most important. You know, I always talk about attracting and enrolling students for a studio is what oxygen's like for human beings. You know, if we didn't have oxygen, we'd be dead. It's the same for a studio. If they're not consistently attracting and enrolling students, they're not going to have a business. And so it's a beautiful program. I'm obviously biased, but we've just redone the program actually for our upcoming intake. And during those 8 weeks, we walk our members through those 3 core pillars. We teach them about Facebook ads. We teach them about the customer journey. We teach them about branding. We teach them about digital marketing and offline marketing and strategic partnerships and referrals. Yeah, it's massive. And not only is it a course, it's a coaching experience. So we run 3 coaching calls every single week during those 8 weeks. We also have guests. You've been a guest for SAI, Tina. We bring guests in, special guests and bonus templates. And there's lots of cool stuff because, you know, for me, I'm always about building an experience. I'm not just about delivering an online course. And I think that that's important now with so many people out there delivering online courses.
Yeah.
Is how do you really just give them an experience that's like no other? You know, we do social nights where they dress up and party with Mel and do trivia and lots of fun stuff in the 8 weeks. And then from the 8 weeks, we give them an opportunity to apply for our inner circle. And our inner circle is really at the center of our business. It's our high-level coaching experience. And that's for people that, you know, really want to go to the next level and really level up their studio and step into the shoes of being the CEO of their dance studio. And we do daily calls, in-person retreats when we can, virtual retreats when we're not able to meet and hug each other together. We have experts every month. We have specialty coaches like a Facebook ads coach, an in-classroom coach, a profit first coach. All of our coaches present every single month to support our members. We do 30-day planning, 90-day planning sessions, weekly planning sessions on a Monday. Yeah, so it's really, we have a curriculum as well that they go through. It's kind of like choose your own adventure that lines up with our 90-day plans. We spend probably about 70 to 80% of our time in the business on the inner circle. It's supported with a program manager and a program coordinator, 2 full-time team members, really putting all of their time and energy into making sure that that inner circle experience is truly exceptional. And so that's kind of it. We sell 2 things. Like I said, it hasn't always been that way, but this is where we're at. Works really well for our business, and it means we can really serve our members very deeply versus offering 100 different things and not being able to go really deep and really drive those results with our members.
And with that, because the question that I get asked so often is the fear around niching and sticking to something simple. And for you, like on that front end, when you're doing the 8-week course, there's 10 different 8-week courses that you could offer. Has it been conscious or hard to just keep it simple and stick with that one?
It was at the beginning. Now, to be honest, I just don't have the energy, right? Like,
well, we're getting old now.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. I felt that so much lately. I've gone, oh my gosh, I could see all these ideas and all these opportunities. And I'm like, I just don't have the energy.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I remember being 21 and having a million ideas and I was teaching 20 hours a week, working full time at the agency, running my dance competition. And I look back on that time and I was like, oh, wow, like I had so much energy, but I'm way more focused. I have way more clarity. And the time that I do have is spent on really making a difference in my team's life and really making a difference in our members' life. And I like channeling my energy into those things. You know, I think it's important that we remain creative. But creativity doesn't mean we create new stuff. Creativity means that maybe we go into an existing program and we might reimagine it. I mean, with the Inner Circle, every year we launch a new season. You know, we'll be going into season 7 of the Inner Circle. and we do like it's a new season of a TV show. And for a year, we do a big release with guys. Here's what we're doing in the inner circle for season 7. We keep some things, we lose some things, we add in some things. And so that program naturally has evolution, and that keeps me excited because I can channel my creativity into, well, how can we deliver more? How can we get our members results faster? And I think you want to have a filter and your vision and your mission so that you can always stay aligned to, well, here's where I'm going. Because there's heaps of great ideas out there, right? But they're not all in alignment with where you want to head. So I think having that clarity of here's where I want to go, here's where I want to spend my time is so crucial, because you can be jumping around chasing every shiny object, every tactic, every strategy, following every guru, trying to get all the results and really get nowhere and truly just look like everyone else.
Yeah, completely. And I love that distinction of creativity in going. Creativity doesn't mean creating all of the different ideas you have, but recreating and making better the thing that you do have. Because we were saying that before we hit record, is a boring business is a profitable business, because once you're on to the winner, it's then going, how can we make that better? How can we get better results for our clients, rather than burning it to the ground because we've been doing the same thing for 2 years.
Because we're bored. I think about our podcast. We've had our podcast for 7 years, and I think I got out of it 3 years ago. Still running though, and it runs with co-hosts and our coaches, and we still get more downloads than we did when I was running it, because I was over it. But I wasn't going to burn it down because it's such a good platform for us. And so I thought, well, how can we reimagine this? How can we deliver even more value? And that was, bringing in our co-hosts and, 8-week kind of series. And we keep reimagining the podcast, but that doesn't need to, have me a part of it.
Yeah. And so how have you handled that growth? Because a lot of people that are listening now are kind of in that stage where they're going, this is where I want to go, and then get there and then go, okay, now what do I do? How do I grow that without maxing myself out? And I know in the early days, service has always been such a value of yours, but you were the one delivering all of it. All of it, which we do. But then how did you go, how can I maintain that level of value and that level of service and make it better, but also not burn yourself out so that you can still show up and deliver?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And I think this is the turning point for a lot of businesses. You see people that do burn out and they just disappear because they just can't. They'll have a couple of awesome years. They'll be talking about, I made $1 million or $5 million, and then you never hear from them again because they don't have the energy. I often think about artists like Adele or Ed Sheeran. Right. And I thought about Ed Sheeran recently because, he took a break for a couple of years and he had a baby and he worked on his fitness, and now he's just come out with another album and he's promoting it, and then he'll tour again and then he'll disappear again.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, if you're running a business and you're not a mega superstar, you don't have the luxury of being able to disappear for a few years.
My plan is to take January off, and I'm really nervous about that.
Right. Exactly. We do. I'm at the moment, I'm off for 3 days and I'm very nervous about that, and so those, when I think about those things and I think about our business and our turning point is where I was feeling burnout. I remember teaching Facebook ads, and I got off the call and I was like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, I'm so over teaching Facebook ads, because I wasn't living in that world. And I was like, maybe I should bring in a Facebook ads coach. Maybe I need a coach, because I hate it. I'm not following every day what's going on. And I was like, maybe I could get a coach to come in and they love it. They know what's going on. And every month deliver absolute gold to our members. Our members are going to have the edge, and they're going to get more out of the experience. Again, value, experience, Clint's happier. And I just started replacing myself.
Yeah. I
just started noticing I'd get questions and I'd either be like, oh, I'm so over answering that question, or I actually don't know. I don't have an answer for that. That's not my wheelhouse. And so I started filling my gaps with other people. And it was slow. It was probably, it was probably truly to get our faculty in place, maybe 2 or 3 years of just slowly adding. Let me get someone else. Let me get someone else. Let's bring on studio growth coaches now who are Inner Circle elite members doing over $1 million. They came on board to start doing coaching. I stopped doing one-on-one coaching. I was doing like hundreds of one-on-one coaching sessions every quarter. I stopped doing that. I slowly brought in a coach. I trained the coach. They came to sessions with me. They watched all of my coaching videos of me coaching other members, started building out real curriculum and systems so the coaches could have consistency. We could have consistency across our brand in what we were sharing with our members. And that was, probably about 3 years. And I would say the last 2 years, it's been really locked in.
Yeah.
But it was a process, and I was just very intentional because I saw where it was headed. I saw that I wasn't loving it as much as I wanted to love it. And I was like, how can I bring myself more joy in the work that I want to do? And so I was very intentional about the role that I wanted as being the CEO at DSOA. And I filled all the little gaps slowly around. And we continued to do that. We just hired a new person last week. We're about to hire another person in the next 2 weeks. We've been bringing on a lot of team members as we keep growing the business. And I had those feelings of like, well, it's been all me, and I was scared, oh my goodness, everyone's going to leave because like it's not me doing the calls anymore, and I'm not showing up every day. But it was slow and steady, and I got really good people, and they love our faculty.
If anything, I think it's a better way to serve people because you are but one human. And so there's only so much you can do. And if you're delivering when you're really exhausted, you're not firing with all the ideas, you're not doing everything.
Exactly. And I've only had this life experience. I'm only sharing kind of my experience and what has been shared with me. And I'm not running a dance studio anymore. And so I have these incredible coaches who are running dance studios who can provide value in a different way to our members. And we've got the Facebook ads coach and the profit first coach who just talks about profit first. Like I know the principles of profit first, but I'm not living it every day like one of our coaches, Shannon, is. And so
I love that.
That's important. That's important to me now. And as well as whatever market you're in, our listeners are in, it's ensuring that you can stand out from everyone else. And the way that we stand out is we were the first people to bring in experts.
Yeah.
And people as well to our conferences that aren't from the dance space. We bring people in that are really good at what they teach, but know nothing about dance. So our audience, our members get new perspectives. They get to see the outside world. So it doesn't become this like recycled machine of just the same stuff.
Yeah. And I think important too, to like for me in September, we're bringing in mindset coaches. So coaches that have been trained by Brooke Castillo's life coach school, because I identified a gap with me in every month. If people haven't done the things that they wanted to do, my go-to attitude is, why not just get over it, do it, like take action, like just go for it, because I've got a very different experience and practice than what a lot of people do. And I'm like, you know what? I need someone who's patient and trained in being able to identify, well, why aren't we doing the things that we want to do, and help them through that, rather than me being a bulldozer.
I too am the bulldozer. And we're very similar, and we have had incredible coaches come in to do like live coaching, sessions around taking action and what's stopping you and what's in, and just clearing, I always say we're clearing the trash, we're kind of getting the stuff out of the way so that you can take action, because like your program members who get the incredible kind of content and training from you, I mean, they have to do the work, right? Like you're giving them awesome information and, great classes and great coaching. But I always say to my members, I'm not going to knock on your door and pull you out of bed and say, come on, like, let's get started on
Hey,
this
I would if I
marketing
could
plan.
though.
Right. We can't at the moment, you're in lockdown.
I know, right? And so speaking of that, perfect segue into my next question. So 2020, the pandemic hit, you already had, a small niche market, one that was majorly affected by COVID. So most people in your position would be going, oh crap, here's my whole market that's not going to be able to afford my program anymore. Is this all going to go down? What am I going to do now? And I remember talking to you. Well, actually, you were consoling me because
I remember that call.
The 12th of March, I was standing on Newport Beach in California, and I was supposed to run my gorgeous retreat in Palm Springs that you were speaking at. And I was in a constant state of denial and optimism in going, but I still think I can. While the Australian government was emailing me saying, you need to get on the next flight home. And you were like, Tina, it's all going to be okay. Go home. We've just got to do it a different way. This is going to go big, and you need to figure out how you can show up and serve people in this time. And I did. I went home and I said, okay, if anyone's struggling with this, like, let me know. I'm giving away free coaching calls. And I put a link up, and I did 72 30-minute coaching calls that week, which was ginormous. But I remember talking to you the week after, and you had been like off the tools, so to speak, for a long time. And you rallied. Can you tell me what you did and how you supported people through that?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And I said to our studio owners, look, we're really lucky because while we can't be in studio, we can run classes virtually, right? I feel sorry for people like hairdressers or, those types of markets where it was just hard to do your craft. We were hit really hard, like 92% of, our members lost, 20, 30, 40, 50, some of them 80, 90% of their students. But within 4 days, I remember that Thursday, we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday to put together a guide on how to run your virtual dance studio. And we put together that guide. The team were incredible. I presented it on Monday and I was like, right, guys, we're going virtual with your dance classes. You're not changing your pricing model. You're not going free. You're not doing a discount. Still a great service. You still have bills to pay. We're kind of united front here. But that was scary. That was so scary because here I am saying, you're literally running a new business. It's technology based, which was very new for a lot of our members, and they're teaching staff. You're teaching from home, on top of your cats and dogs and on top of your couch or in your little studio apartment, and you're charging the same price. There was a lot of stuff to work through there. And so we ran daily sessions for, 6 months where we just showed up and we're just putting out fires and helping people and consoling our members and telling them it's going to be okay. But none of us had gone through it. And so every day there's new, different questions. Well, a parent said this, and what about this? And none of my teachers want to teach, and yeah, it was insane.
How did you hold that emotional space for people in going? Because a lot of people were coming to you to be
my goodness,
help me.
Yeah, I feel like I've never cried more in 2020 than I have in my entire life. And I remember sitting there, we were about 2 weeks in and I hadn't cried. I was 2 weeks in. I just got off a coaching call and I felt so deeply for these poor people that had worked their whole life to give the magic and joy of dance. And people were like, I'm not coming back. You should be giving me it was just so bad. And I got off the call and I just I literally just broke down for 10 minutes. And I was like, this is just really crap, and I was like, these people are doing they've changed their business. They've gone online. They're, doing story time during the day. They're giving all of these bonuses for their customers, and their customers are turning around saying, nah, I'm out. We'll wait until we can come back.
Yeah.
And, we had to really, I remember writing a letter to parents from me.
I loved that. Yeah. I remember that there was a line in there and going like, if you don't support people now, there'll be nothing to come back to.
Yeah.
It was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. And we did a lot of that. Like we did a lot of templates for emails for our members. I wrote a whole bunch of letters because I don't think, not all parents, but a lot of parents, I don't think understood the impact of taking dance away from their child. You know, like what that would be in a world where so much was being taken away from them.
Yeah.
And dance is just so joyous. Even if you're in your living room dancing around, like it still brings a smile. It makes people laugh. It makes people happy.
Yes.
So we decided to lead. Like I saw a lot of people from lots of different industries, like essentially just disappear. They were like, peace out. Like
Yeah.
I'm out of here. And I was like, we're going to lead. We're going to do a whole bunch of free stuff. We did free summits.
Yeah.
We took our Inner Circle launch off the calendar. I was like, no, April, let's completely remove that. You know, lost hundreds of thousands of dollars for doing that. But I was like, now's not the time. We've got to keep our industry in business. Like,
and what
that
I
was
saw from that was everyone who did go, you know what, I'm just going to step forward and lead through this and help people through it. Then towards the end of 2020, start of 2021, have literally grown their business more than any other time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that what you got as well?
Yeah, completely. I mean, we saw great results around August, September. And again, because we met the market where they were at.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, well, we've been doing virtual classes and everyone's over virtual classes. How do we sell virtual classes? How do we sell Zoom classes? And I'm like, they're not Zoom classes. You're selling a virtual dance experience. And I created this whole thing around the virtual dance experience and how to market that and how to talk about it and how to bring people in. And so we just, you know, we listen really carefully to what our members want and what they need. I always say, like, we don't come up with the good ideas at DSOA. All of our members do.
100%.
And we just listen. We just listen to what they want. And if enough of them want it, we deliver it to them. We give them what they need. And people were saying to me, Clint, everyone's Zoom fatigued. Everyone's Zoom fatigued. No one's enrolling for the new season because we're going to be on Zoom. And I was like, the problem is you're calling them Zoom classes. The problem is you've taken a class that was in person and you've just dumped it on Zoom. You know, it's completely different, you know, creating a virtual environment. And so, you know, we did trainings on that. We got, you know, stacks of members in our student attraction intensive program. We pivoted that to talk about the virtual dance experience as well as online, offline for those that were
imagine how many people's lives you saved, like actually. Yeah,
I mean, we hear a lot of stories. You know, we've just done a bunch. On Sunday and Monday, we just filmed. We went into our studios in California and did, I think, 7 or 8 like videos, case studies, and it's been really wonderful to kind of hear their journey, which was really tough, but see the light in what 2020 provided them with. And how the Inner Circle was a part of that. It's but you know, our team doubled down, and they also had to put up their hand with me and say, we're going to lead, because I couldn't, like, as you mentioned, emotionally, it was so, you know, it was so draining. And, you know, during that year we had sickness in the family. There was also a lot of stuff going on in 2020 aside from the pandemic. So I needed our team to step up as well. And they did do a really stellar job. So it was definitely a collective. It was a collective endeavor, 2020 for sure.
And so going through that and you stepping forward again kind of thing and going, did you undo the work that you had done by pulling yourself out beforehand? Like, how did you keep that community tight?
So good.
When you have boundaries and you can't physically talk to everyone when they're sending you messages or emails saying, Clint, help, and you want to help because they're in a bad way and you know you can solve that problem, how do you keep your boundaries?
Yeah, so I'm really good at setting expectations. I think it definitely is one of my superpowers. I don't remember the last time a member sent me an email or a Facebook message. Like I couldn't tell you, because that's not available to them.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not on the table. And I tell them, guys, if you email me, you're not going to get a response. I am the last person you want to email, because I've set up systems and processes so that we get back to you in a couple of hours. But that's not through emailing me. That's through emailing our Inner Circle email address that we have for Inner Circle members, or our general hello@DSOA email address. Don't send me a Facebook message. And I say this on our kickoff calls, on our onboarding calls, because that's not going to be helpful. I'm not there. You don't want me as the CEO of DSOA. You don't want me answering customer service emails. You don't want me sending your login details. You want me focused on how to build an incredible experience for you. You want me looking and sourcing speakers. You want me working with our coaches so that you get incredible coaches. You don't want me responding to your little message about the broken link on a PDF. Not a good use of my time. And so I'm very upfront, but we don't leave them hanging, right? And I see a lot of people who are like, I'm not going to respond to your email, but then they don't have anyone that is.
Yes.
You know, and so you can't say that and not have support for your members. You've got to make sure that you've got a team there, that there's a system there. At the beginning, I was doing customer service. I was going into whatever the random membership site we use and like sending logins. Yeah. Right. I was loading stuff into the membership site. I was editing the podcast. You know, at the very beginning, I was doing all of that stuff. But, you know, again, don't look at my year 7 and go, I want that in my year 1 or year 2, right? But the great thing is that if you're working with Tina in her mastermind, or you're obviously listening to her podcast, you know, you get to hear a lot of journeys from different people and where they're at in their business. And so you get a head start on what it can look like down the road.
And I love that yours is like, you've been very open and going, like, it wasn't like one year you went, okay, now we're going to change everything. It was slowly, one thing at a time, just going, hang on, this is past my boundary. How can I fix that? Hang on, I'm getting a bit tired again. How can I fix that? Hang on, I'm getting asked too many things here. How can I fix that? One thing at a time.
Yeah, it's so true. It's really been a journey. And there have been big, scary decisions that I've had to make, but I never make more than one at a time. You know, I'm not dumping and, on our members and saying, okay, guys, I'm not doing calls anymore. I'm bringing in these new people. You'll never hear from me again. You know, we're getting rid of this. We're doing because at the end of the day, I'm just like, what is going to be most valuable? And the point that we're at DSOA at the moment is me showing up physically coaching is not what's most valuable, you know, and the best use of my time.
And one thing, I mean, it comes across every time I speak to you, and I think it was what attracted me to you when we first met, was you've got this and I'm interested to know whether it was learned or natural, is you have such an abundance mindset. So many people are going like, I have to do this now and in a hurry. And, you know, even just the way you said, like, I just deal with one of those big problems at a time. It's like, even when the pandemic hit, you didn't go into that spiral panic going, oh my gosh, my whole business, it's going to be gone. Like, you never acted desperate. You went straight to, how can I serve people, get them through this? They'll stay there. And you're always going, I'll move here, I'll move there, in such a beautiful, abundant, like, it's inevitable way.
I think I remember working with a mentor, and they said to me, Clint, you'll always be able to make money. Right? They were like, you will always be able to make money. And, you know, I came from an incredible single mother in housing commission. You know, we didn't have any money. I never felt like we didn't have money, but looking back on that journey, we didn't have a lot of money. My mum was working like 2 or 3 jobs, you know, working at the desk at the dance studio to pay for my dance classes. And so, you know, I always had this thing of like, I want to make money, you know, like I want to ensure that I can have money to live the life that I want and that I love. And I just, you know, I really think to myself, like, I'll be good. You know, I just have that motto of like, I'll be fine. like if this, I would hate for DSOA to be burned down tomorrow, but if I'm away for these next 3 days and it burns down while I'm away, Jessica and the team have got it handled. But if it burns down, I always think to myself, like, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think part of that is really because I truly believe, like with every inch of my soul and being, that if I deliver value to other people, that financially I'm going to be okay.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
And that's like, and that's where everything comes from for me, is how can we deliver more value? How can we increase their experience? How can we get them wins faster? Like, I am so obsessed just with those notions, that in turn, that equates to me, well, if I'm looking after other people, I'm going to be okay.
Yes. That's what franchising taught me, is you're successful when they're successful. And the more successful they are, the more successful you are. And it's like this win-win thing that just carries on. So since you started doing, I mean, you're year 7 now, super successful. What's changed for you personally since you started doing multi-million-dollar years?
You know, we just bought a house, which was which was incredible, a great endeavor to be able to do that. I don't, I think one thing that has really shifted for me, in terms of generating the revenue that we do, it's been different things at different levels. I think the first thing was just being able to live in a beautiful place, like really live in a beautiful, inspiring environment. And that leveled me up. The other thing that really leveled me up was flying first class, like flying business class. I know it sounds so superficial, but there's something. I remember sitting next to 50 Cent on the flight back home he spilt his drink on me, back home to New York. He asked me how to plug in his headphones. We were flying back to New York, and it was just that experience. I didn't want to talk to him.
Just the thought of sitting on a plane is bringing tears to my eyes. I miss it so much.
Right. Me too. I mean, and I can fly.
So
But those types of experiences, sitting there and talking to a CEO of another company, or being in those environments around other people who are high achievers, has really upgraded me. It's the same. I was able to invest more into coaching and mastermind groups and experiences with other like-minded people, pay 10,000 for 2 days to go to an event with like-minded people who are going to push you to make you think bigger, to dream bigger. I mean, for me, that, like, hands down, the best investments I have ever made are in my education.
Yeah.
And me growing. And then the other thing it's allowed us to do now is bring on incredible team members, and pay them really well. We just did our 6-month bonuses for everyone. And that was really exciting, to be able to pay out these bonuses and just sit on a team call and go, geez, you guys are like really good. Like, you're all really great workers and just wonderful people. And it hasn't, again, I don't want you comparing your year 1, guys. It has been tough. Like, leadership and finding the right people has been one of the most hated parts of my job.
Yeah.
But I feel like we have great cohesion and everyone is slotting nicely into their roles. We've done some restructuring, it never ends. But I'm feeling really good about that. So personally, it has allowed me to grow as the CEO. It's allowed me to be in beautiful spaces. It's allowed me to pay for things for family members, which has been really beautiful as well. It's allowed us to invest more back into our members and their experience in our events with the team members that they work with. We have a chef that cooks for us every Wednesday. Anthea comes over, spends 5 hours cooking our food for the week, which is such a luxury, and is just every time I see her on a Wednesday, I just kind of like want to cry, thinking, oh my goodness, I have someone making our food. Like, this is incredible. We have Diana cleans the house every Friday. I mean, and I walk out of my office and I just, again, feel like crying because the house is so clean and it just smells incredible.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm away, as you know, I'm away for 3 days on a staycation, and I forgot my sunglasses. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, how did I forget my sunglasses? There's a shop in the hotel. These sunglasses, which are probably $5, were like $65. And I didn't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
I just bought the sunglasses.
Yeah.
And I bought them, and then I didn't even look how much they were. So silly. I didn't even look how much they were. I was just like, oh, these look good. And then, because they never have prices on anything, right? And so I just like bought it, and she's like, 69 or whatever with tax. And I was like, okay. And then I went to the pool and I was like, oh wow, that's not an experience that a lot of people can have. They would have to go, how much is it? Can I afford it?
Yeah.
What do I not need to do because I'm buying these glasses? Do I need to go and walk somewhere further to get the $10, glasses? But, my motto, what I spend money on is anything that is in alignment with my notion of frictionless living.
Yeah. Love that.
I want to remove as much friction as possible so that I can be in joy as much as possible.
And I think when you haven't come from money as well, it's the little things. Like at the moment, we're on lockdown. And so the kids are going into week 5 of that. And I took one of my sons to do the grocery shopping yesterday. And from when they were like 2 till about 5, so about 3 years, I shopped with a calculator. So everything that I would grab, I would have to add it in there because I had the certain amount of money. And if it went over the $80, I had to decide what's most important and start putting things back. And I had that exact sunglasses moment yesterday when Cohen, my little one, walked in and he was like, okay, what do we need? Because he chucks it in. And I went, you know what? You're locked down at the moment. Like, make a snack cupboard, grab whatever you want. He's like, whatever I want. I'm like, whatever you want. Because I know they actually don't. It's not like he was going to get 2 trolleys and fill it up because his mind doesn't even go there because he's not practiced at it. So he literally, he grabbed Cocoa Pops, he grabbed like mac and cheese, like things that he's not normally allowed to get. But I had that moment like walking down with such joy down that aisle going, I can get any grocery I want. Like it is those little things that really bring that joy.
Totally. And I love, that, I often laugh because my friends are like, when are you getting that car and that Tesla and that? And I was like, I don't need that stuff.
Yeah.
I wear the same. I've got 5 black polo shirts. I've got 5 black pants. I have the same outfit every time.
You look so good in it. It just works.
I just, and it's so versatile. I can go walking in it. I can wear it on a podcast interview. And so, those are the things that I love putting, my personal money into. And then I'm just really enjoying putting it back into our team and just into our experiences.
Yeah.
Putting that bit back into the business is awesome.
And so what is next for you? Do you continue to dream the bigger dreams? Are you still thinking big? Yeah. What are you working? I know you're working on something very exciting now.
Yeah, so we're working on Dancely at the moment. Dancely is an entertainment, education, and exercise platform for the under 6 market. We just launched the Dancely licensee program for our studio owners so they can teach our dancers using all of our original songs. We have songwriters from Netflix and Disney and Marvel who've written all of our music. And so our studio owners have just started last week, actually. We have over 400 studios around the world teaching Dancely to their 3 to 6-year-olds in their preschool dance classes. And we're launching a consumer app at the end of August. And we have big plans for that brand. So I'm really excited by that. I continue to be excited and enthusiastic on the work that we're doing at DSOA due to the incredible people we're bringing on board for our team to continually up-level the experience for our members. And I'm just, really kind of looking forward to the next 12 months and continuing to spread the joy of dance in the different avenues that we have.
I still want to see you dance though.
Might send you a couple of sneaky videos. I did actually choreograph for Dancers for Dancely. So
I need those videos.
I might share those with you. But we will definitely, when you come back to the US,
I know.
we can have a
We can dance off.
We can have a dance.
Thank you so much, Clint. Thank you for sharing your journey. You really are. I called this episode the nicest millionaire you'll ever meet because yeah, I know that makes you go, but
I'm like,
you really are, like how
talk to my team.
You're so generous with your peers like me in sharing. I mean, this is something a lot of people don't know too. Like when I got into online courses, you were one of the people that I rang and you're like, what do you need to know? And you sat there for hours and you answered everything. I mean, the generosity with that is the same generosity you have with your friends, with your family, with your clients, with your team. You're an amazing human.
Thank you, my love. And back at you, I always enjoy our time together and so proud of what you've achieved and putting the book into the world. I mean, guys, this book, you have to get it. I sat there. Alex is like, why? You're in the book. Why are you reading it? I'm like, babe, this book is, I'm learning so much. This book is incredible. So guys, go and get yourself a copy of the book. It'll enhance your journey in the online course world that you're already in, or if you're just getting started. I mean, don't waste your time anywhere else. This will literally give you the step-by-step process. So congrats, really well deserved. I love seeing it everywhere. And can't wait to see its continued success as it gets into more hands.
Thanks, gorgeous.